Hi guys, so as you guys can see by the title, today, or throughout this video, I will be reading the Cruel Prince trilogy by Holly Black. I heard a lot of things about this book. Number one, it's really good. Number two, it's really not good. Number three, that's all I've heard about it. But that does show that people are really split on this book. I'll read the first book and make that like the spoiler-free section. And then after that, I'll read the second two books out of the series, and that'll be like the spoilers part of the video. I did start the book a little bit. It's pretty interesting. So Jude is the main character, and she, along with her twin sister Taryn and half-sister Vivian, who's also a half-fairy, are living in the fairyland. And basically when Jude was like 7 or something like that, this fairy guy, his name is Maddock, came in to her house and killed her parents and then took like the 3 sisters to the fairyland. And while Jude and Taryn have like adapted to this fantasy world, Vivian is just rebelling and she just doesn't like it. So I just finished the first part of Cruel Prince and I wanted to update you guys. So the Cruel Prince is divided into sections, which are like books. So there's like book 1 and book 2. I'm not sure if it's the book 3, I forgot. But I just finished book 1, and the last chapter of that section was this whole like climax scene, which was really interesting. I feel like the story just like really picked up right there. Until then, there were still like important pieces of the plot going on, and she meets Hardin, who is the Cruel Prince. And you can really see his like meanness to her because she's mortal and he's a fairy. But I think he has like a special hatred towards her or something in just what he does. So yeah, I feel like the name of the book is really coming in. So yeah, I'm about to start book 2, which is the second part. I'm on chapter 29. And I didn't realize that book 1 part of the first book, like that section, was so long. I think it was like 60-70% probably. But I'm 87% done right now. And the like end of book 1 in this first book, that like climax thing had like really big consequences. So now she's like trying to figure out what's going on and everything. So honestly, I think the book is actually really good. So I have chapter 29, chapter 30, and the epilogue left. So I'm basically almost done. I didn't realize that I gotten this far, I guess. But I think it's quite good. The story is really interesting. It's very plot driven. So yeah, I'll finish off these chapters and let you guys know what I think. Okay guys, so I've finished The Cruel Prince. The last 2 chapters, really interesting. She's basically executing the plan, and it just leads into book 2. So now that I finished book 1, the book 2 wait in the library is like 7 weeks. So guess what? My sister bought the books. Yep. So here's these 2. My sister's reading a 3rd one. She's like a speed reader. She literally got this yesterday. She's done by today. So yeah, now I get to start book 2. And so far, honestly though, I really did actually enjoy book 1. I think I'm in the enjoy category. So we'll see where book 2 goes. Time for an update, guys. But before I go ahead, this is where the spoiler section of the video begins. So if you guys want to just see me, just rate the books, tell you guys like quick thoughts, then skip to this time right here. You guys have been warned, so let's get into Wicked King. So I'm now on chapter 17. By the end of book 1, basically, I mean, you could tell by the title, honestly, Cardin's now the king. She made him the king. So Jude is basically trying to figure out working with Cardin and then, basically how to rule a kingdom while still making sure Oak is safe and all that. So I don't think I'm even halfway through the book yet. My predictions for the second part, I mean, the 3rd one is called Queen of Nothing, so she's probably going to become queen at some point. Since like 5 months are already up, of Cardin's like agreement with her that he'll serve her for a year and a day, there's always the issue of like the king being able to keep his power and like other people trying to take the power, question the power, and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll see. Update time. So I finished Wicked King last night, and now I know why the third one is called Queen of Nothing. But gotta say, this one had a lot more action, I feel like, than the first one, especially with the involvement of the undersea people. So the ending of this one was a bit unexpected for me, since I had thought originally that it would essentially just go through the year and a day that Cardin pledges to Jude. I'm about to start this one. Well, technically I did start it a bit last night. I closed this book and I literally opened this one. But I'm not too much through. I'm on chapter 24, and now I know what the meaning of everything on the cover is, so that's interesting. And almost done, few more chapters. There's still an issue that she needs to solve, but that's going to get solved very soon. Literally in like, what, another 40-ish pages. So, I've finished all 3 books. You guys have watched me read it, give you guys thoughts. Now it is time for the final wrap-up. Overall, I really did enjoy the books. I'd say Jude is a really unique character in that she's immortal in this fantasy fairy world where all the people are immortal and they have powers and essentially just power over mortal people in general. And how Jude navigates that is really interesting to see throughout the books. Also, her relationships with Maddox and her like spy friends, and then Cardin and Taryn also really goes through a lot of things throughout the book, which I think is interesting to see. And I think in general, Jude is just an interesting, strong sort of character to narrate the story, if that makes sense. So her decisions and everything, and how she comes to those decisions, and also just her differences, I would say, with Taryn, who's her twin, and a lot of times how she compares Taryn to like a life that she could have had if she had chosen something else. I feel like a good theme sort of thing for the book is power in general, and you can see how Jude, the main character, goes through from the first book and how she progresses sort of into and out of power by the last book, especially since it's called Queen of Nothing, if that gives you guys any hints. But this is a no spoiler section. So usually when I really enjoy a series, I end up just giving the entire series the same rating because I've read them all at once, but I kind of want to not do that and try to look at each book differently today. The first one, The Cruel Prince, I would say is about like a 4.4-ish, since it's really interesting book. I would say the starting is not even weak at all. Like literally the prologue, or chapter 1, I think. The prologue is, yes, the prologue is just really crazy. Just like kind of just takes you right into the action. So I'd say the starting is really good. But the part in the fairy world, especially kind of with like Locke, that situation was interesting to me. I didn't think it was super great, but then I also knew the whole Cardin situation beforehand because this book is marketed, I think, as like an enemies to lovers book anyway. So that's one thing. The middle, especially when she meets her whole gang, I would say, that stays with her throughout the rest of the books, that's really interesting, and how she is sort of slowly getting more power over time. So yeah, 4.4. The second one, Wicked King, I would say is a 4.75. It's really close to like a 5-star, but by the end of the first 2 books, the characters were great, but for a 5-star book, there's like this feeling that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna really miss these characters after I finish reading them. And I didn't feel like I had that yet for this book, but some of it I kind of just like really sped through, so I don't really distinctly remember what was going on. But I do really like the second cover though. You do get more of the development with Carden and her relationship there. I would say the ending is really plot twisty, I guess. Final one, Queen of That Thing. This one I am going to give 5 stars because by the end of this book I was like, oh wow, these characters are really fun to read about. I also really like how this book has a lot of action and a lot of places that she's going, and there's just a lot of pieces to the plot in this book, which made it super fun to read and also just really, really fast. I think I got through this book in, I think, 2 days, or maybe even less than that. So yeah, and the ending was also really just clean, if that makes sense. Like all the problems were all cleaned up, things were all addressed, and it kind of just wraps up really well. So yeah, I think the trilogy is really good. I feel like a good number for series in general is like 3 or maybe 4, but I feel like 3 is just the perfect number to give you kind of like the beginning, middle, end sort of thing. Overall though, I did really enjoy the series, so I'm just gonna say it's like a 5-star series, if that makes sense. So all 3 books together, I would definitely recommend. Those were my thoughts. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. And now that I have the books, I can take a cool thumbnail picture. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, whatever you guys feel like doing, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!